Hey everybody, it's Sandra. I just felt called to connect in here with everybody here as we close yet another decade, not another, well, almost feels like a decade, at least for me. Close another year with this human experience here on planet Earth. Um, yeah, just kind of in that space of soul reflection, contemplation, silence and stillness, and kind of a retreating soul space. And I'm certain I'm not alone. Um, I feel like many of us have been deepening the chords of our experience, our human experience, even more as the last couple years have been unfolding and unveiling, deeper layers of self coming more authentically forth, and really going in to do deeper work, deeper healing, deeper listening. There's a sound within all of us that is, really begging to be heard and desires us to really attune more to, so we can trust that inner guidance more, trust that inner voice, the inner wisdom, the navigation of our own soul's trajectory. It's been so muted over, generations, because our souls often, it's at a subtle vibrational level, and the noise outside in our world tends to be so overbearing that we almost forget how to listen to the whispers of our spirit, of our own inner heart. So I'm finding with every cell I feel within me, that I feel within myself, and that becomes more activated and comes online, and becomes more illuminated by life experiences, by the healing, by the shedding, by the deconditioning, the programming and everything that we have often been, I guess, conditioned by and constructed by. That noise is so overbearing, and it's only when we really find soul space and moments of silence, whatever that is for each of us. It's different for all of us. There is not one way for anybody. It's listening and attuning to that navigation system within your own spirit. And this journey for me in particular continues to surprise me. I always feel like, okay, I'm where I've been seeking to go, and then, oh, look, there's another layer. And I don't say that naively. Like, I recognize we're always unfolding. But this work of the soul, it is so subtle. It's its own quiet, powerful experiment, I find, and one that requires a lot of self-rejoicing and a lot of patience, compassion, and courage, and consistency to show up and to meet every moment of every opportunity we get, whether those opportunities are of the highest and or the lowest and or a combination of anything in between, right? That's the symphony of the soul, is that the octave of our lives are playing in there's many octaves, I should say, of our lives, and you know, we're here to kind of fine tune and attune into the instrument of that soul within us, each of us individually, so that we can sharpen the intuitive connection to others, so we can become more in resonance with the collective. So if we aren't first listening for how our instrument is playing, and we're not taking responsibility for the way we're refining and repairing and, just even reconnecting, but just being in resonance with our own soul instrument, then it's harder for us to find frequency, vibration, and alignment with others. How do we become an orchestration here, collectively playing a symphonic, soul song, if we aren't even listening to the soul song within ourselves? Like, if we haven't understood the sheet music within us and our own chords and our own notes, and we're not reading that, or we're not attuning to that, then it makes it that much harder to blend in, if that's some kind of metaphor to kind of envision. And the beauty, I find, is that as we align and refine that within ourselves, and we strengthen those chords, and we anchor, and we heal, and we, shed, and we do all of these things, we can appreciate the sounds of other instruments around us. Yes, we can be strong in our own presentation, so to speak, but still appreciate the music around us, and stay on our own beat while hearing other noises around us and not being as taken by them or overly influenced by them or distorted by them. We get to connect in with them and recognize that all of our instruments are contributing to the whole. So what does that ultimately mean, right? Okay. That experience upon which I'm sharing, or that metaphor, or that imagery, is what I sense we've all been doing on some level, in some way. Individually, in tribal, in collective, in community, in isolation. We've all been going back to kind of attune to the personal music within each of us. And here we are, closing up another year, and we've all been writing music in different ways. Like, somehow, some way, everyone's been moving through something, I would say, pretty cataclysmic. I'm pretty certain of that. Now, to what degree, to what extreme, to what, that is for every soul to kind of know for themselves and to navigate. As a whole, though, collectively, I personally know, sense, feel, see, and hear this whale's cry, almost, this beckoning of people learning to redefine or realign back into their true soul self. Because the music that's been either playing for too long indirectly has been causing some distortion, some dissonance, some disconnection. And people are ready to rewrite, you know, something fresh, something renewal, something riveting, something that with a sense of vitality and contribution and meaning and purpose and depth. Well, you don't have to be a deep person by nature necessarily, or even consciously. I think a lot of times when we are navigating the path of soul and self and higher self and truth and light and love and becoming, we make it, many of us can make it more than it naturally needs to be. And every day I'm finding, though I am a deep person and I recognize not everybody, chooses that or is designed that way or desires that, it doesn't matter. We're all here to contribute layers of our gifts, of our abilities, of our sharings, to illuminate something within ourselves that maybe we don't think about on a daily basis, or we don't even think too much about. We just go about our day, and that's fine. I think there's a balance between, being in life just as you are and deliberately, consciously, intentionally navigating that pathway, with true, like, conscious intention. Because most people, they're afraid, and I understand that. Like, it takes consistent, steady, devoted, discipline on some level to show up every day, to look in the said mirror, to feel the feelings, to create the space for the thoughts to move and discharge or dislodge, to be in the discomfort as you're dismantling and shedding skin. I mean, there's a lot involved. And so the depth of one's soul can be different in all different ways. And sometimes the most impactful way is just being in it kind of in a, I'd say almost like a naivety, like a naive, innocent way, like just in like things we hear in different respects, like being in play and just being, present in everyday encounters, or, attuning to the nature. And so I think there's a beautiful blend of so many things that we as a people, as a species, as a, spiritual being in a human suit, in a human in a human body, has. Like, we have a lot of ways we can navigate the depths of our soul. Some of us go one way, some of us go another. It doesn't, for me in particular, there's not a one-way highway to how we, navigate this path. It's whatever we hear, sense, see, feel, know, trust, align, connect to, desire, and then activating that, whatever that is, right? So we're just, here we are, we're closing another year, and many of us, myself included, on many levels, have been going through layers of healing. And, we can get caught up in the linear life of, okay, I'm going to start anew on Monday because it's the new year, when really every moment is an opportunity to renew, to be new. Astrologically speaking, the winter solstice is really more of the new year. It's when cosmically, energetically, vibrationally, and all that, things are aligned in a vibration that actually activate more of that winter seeding in us, so that we can make, manifest, and harvest into the spring that comes, several months later. And that season is different for all of us. We might be experiencing a physical season right now in the northern hemisphere versus the southern, and that winter is different for us versus another. But I'm finding over the course of my journey, 5 decades now into this around the sun, that it's really the season of the soul. And when we look at kind of the world at large right now, there is a renewal, right? There is a huge rebirthing coming right now. There is a huge unveiling and awakening in the collective, and a lot more people coming into their personal truth, their personal alignment, their path of divinity and sovereignty, and their desire for perhaps less, and simplicity, and there's a craving for, deepening connection to self and heart and community, and our ancestry, and our children, and our health. And it's not because these things haven't had their place in time. It's almost as if I'm seeing, like, all of it's kind of being unveiled now, all of it's being revealed, because as we shed skin, we heal, we release and surrender into the truth of our essence and our soul essence, our bodies become lighter. We don't want to carry anything heavy. And as a collective, for, many thousands of years, we've been carrying energetics, ancestral lineage, cultural patterns, conditioning and programming, and archetypes of all kinds, way, way back. I'm just talking very minimum right now, but that burden is becoming more present, right? And there's a divine orchestration in that, because we aren't designed to labor that energetic weight as we evolve. Like, things have to go. We have to let, parts of us shed, die, renew, right? When we think about the physical aspect of any part of our lives, let's just say we're moving homes. Typically, right, we have some kind of yard sale, garage sale, some kind of estate sale, just something, because we know consciously, like, I'm either downsizing, or I'm either upgrading, or I'm completely going into like a minimalistic lifestyle, and I can't take all that with me. I don't have a room, I don't have space. And that's how we have to kind of, I feel, recognize our own vehicle, body, instrument, temple, call your form, body, anything you want. It's not for me to decide that for you. But we have to let go, whether it's emotionally, energetically, vibrationally, mentally, physically. And there's, there's an interesting dichotomy in that, I'm finding, because at times it's that we've kept within the confines and constructs and comforts of our physical, whether it's our body physical, our home physical, our community physical, because there's a security there, right? There's a safety, there's a knowingness there, there's a grounding, there's an anchoring, there's a rooting, and we, often don't want to unanchor and untether those reins without knowing where are we heading next. And many of us don't know where that next is. My hand is raised. I'm in that absolute juncture of my own life of complete not knowing, complete void, complete awe, wonder, and holy shit at the same time, because that's truly like trusting, surrendering, and allowing the soul to continue to navigate and be the compass that it is for us, that it chose for us in this lifetime. And there's an intelligence in understanding that, and an intellect in understanding that, and then there's an intuitive embracement and integration in understanding that, because many of us can be philosophically, intellectually, whatever, right? Call it whatever you want. And then it's really put to the test in the practice of challenges, in the practice of true dismantling, of fragmentation of our roots or our foundation or our thoughts or our belief systems or our patterns or our safety mechanisms, whatever that is. And, you know, there's like a grievance in that, because that there's a true like unknowing, and at the same time there's a beauty in, oh my gosh, like what's coming? I get to create in this space, and I'm so excited, and I'm like a clean slate, a blank slate, a kid in a candy store that just has all these, like, I don't even know, unknown options, right? Maybe that's not the best analogy, kid in a candy store. Maybe it's the kid in the open field that just gets to run free, and you're like, create your fantasy, wherever and however, paint the picture however you want. And there's a collective, theme happening, right? Because what we've gone through collectively now, we've been going through, by the way. It's just been more illuminated. It's not like all this stuff is just showed up over the last 2 years called, COVID and this or that. It's kind of a metaphor for many, many things that needed to come to the surface, for healing, for like realization, for us to be with, to embody, and to be discomforted by, and there's an opportunity, and here we are, moving into another stage, phase, year, and we get to decide how we're going to create in that year, and take all the tools that we have gathered and learned and practiced and applied and trial and errored and done all these things with, and then what does that contribution look like? So what is it that we get to bring back into the community, into the collective, into our families, into any encounter that we have at any point in time when somebody else is crossing over something in their life that maybe we've already done, and we might say, hey, I may not have your answer, but here's a little bit of what I've experienced. I hope it offers some illumination, and we pass a little bit of that fairy dust or that torchlight and pave that path so that the path continues, because there's many coming behind and there's many ahead, and we're right where we're supposed to be, and no one's better, worse, no one's way off or behind. It's just where we are is where we are. And I know sometimes for me personally, that's a deep challenge. I have a deep intensity, a deep desire, a deep fire, a deep drive, calling, that is roaring like beyond words. And then there's the soul temperament of continuing to just be patient and trust and wait and allow and embrace and breathe and trust and wait. And then there's the, okay, we can get comfortable in any one of those places, and then it's coming back to the neutral access of and listening for when it's time to go. And we may never be ready to any degree, and then sometimes we think we're ready and we were a little premature, and so we might trip up and we might have to go back and we might have to start over. And I, again, will raise my hand to all of this. My true soul's intention in any sharing I bring at any point upon my path is never to proclaim that I've discovered something better than anyone else. It's just truly a journey of my own sharing. And that's the contribution that my soul desires to bring into the human hearts and hands of this experience. And I never know who it's going to impact, right? I never know at what point anything that comes through me divinely, in through my higher self, through channeling, through any of it, that it's not my place to know when that experience of my journey may impact another. It's for that person to know that, that resonates with me. That aligns. And so, there's a timing in all of it, and we have to listen it really more deeply within ourselves and discern with all the conversations that are being shared out there, with all the stories, with all the knowledge, with all the wisdom, with all the gifts, with all the, beautiful divination, like modalities and healings, like what of that relates most to myself. And it might be all of it. You might be like I am. I love weaving everything together and then envisioning and intuiting what that is for my expression, right? And still finding and redefining that, like recognizing I'm probably never going to have an exact one way ever, because it's not who I am. I'm always in some transmutation and transformation. And this has been my own soul's challenge, because the subtleties of the voice within, in the lack, shadow, fear, conditioning, can also hinder and keep us held back, because, oh my gosh, we're never ready. But then that fire inside can create a deep frustration of, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm going. Like, this is it. It's not for me to decide anymore when I'm ready. My soul's screaming, I'm ready. Let's do this. And sometimes we need to hear that. I think sometimes we listen so anxiously and so readily and so willingly and so enthusiastically with great, awe of others. And we don't know half of their story or how they got there or what their fears were, and they may come across fully polished, fully like, oh my gosh, yeah, that I'll never be. Well, who's to say they're where they want to be? Or who's to say they aren't putting out what they best can until they get where, they desire more to be? So, I'm sharing just fragments of my own journey in respect, because these are things I often believe that we definitely teach and share most of what we need to learn for ourselves. And it's the practice, right? It's showing up in this space of sharing and being vulnerable, and our offering and our transparency and our vulnerability, and, and just our humanness as we're transcending, ascending, evolving, devolving, learning, unlearning, relearning, programming, deprogramming. I mean, you name it. We're a cluster of many fragments on many levels. And it can get very complicated. It can be very complex. So I bring this message with a message of this, which is, wherever you are on your path, wherever you desire to be on your path, wherever you've been on your path, love yourself for where you are now. Embrace, embody, and entrust your soul's truth and light. Be affirmative in that space with deep compassion, deep reverence, deep love. We're not going to get that anywhere but within us, because as we believe the way we all believe or perceive or whatever that is, right? It's our soul resonance that will keep us in the fine line attuned path of our truest becoming. For me in particular, this has been a deeply, deeply transformative year upon many. I have lost both of my parents in 1 month, within 11 days of each other. And there's a grievance, a present grievance in any given moment, personally. And I'm deeply grateful by the grace of this path upon which my soul has gone, called me upon and been leading me down for a long time now, that the way I can embrace and embody the transitioning of my mom and dad, who left 11 days apart after 54 years of marriage, there's a sweet sound and a sweet song between their souls that needed to remain, in concert together. And I take a lot of deep humility, honor, and humbleness in that, to be present with knowing that their soul's journey was their soul's journey, and the human, physical, mental side wants no loss of any kind, because that's, our belief that the physical is only where we connect. I'm personally experiencing a whole nother way of connecting with my mom and dad, and one that is not just illuminating more of the path I've been on, but expanding exponentially the path upon which I'm moving more towards into my spiritual work, the work of my mystic soul, of divinely connecting with source, creation, God, angels, my higher self, my medium and intuitive gifts and stuff. And so trusting that and knowing, as I've found comfort, and this is not everybody's path, my parents are helping me now in and from another realm that they couldn't necessarily do here on the earth plane. And there's peace I take with that. There's a deep honoring through my ancestral line, a reverence that I look at and say, perhaps what I'm here to continue to do, be, and share is part of exactly what every one of my beloved ancestors did. And I'm here to continue that work forward. And now with my mom and dad, as my angelic wings, indefinitely, internally, and infinitely, there's a grace there. And my grievance is in not the traditional grievance. I've mourned, and I continue to have my emotional moments and my emotional releasing, but I'm not grieving from as if they're gone, right? The physical side's gone, and the memories upon which were created for all of my lifetime are still here. And when I find myself crying or talking to them, my tears are more of deep gratitude, thanking both of them for choosing this lifetime, choosing each other, and then bringing this life into existence. And then, me doing the work I'm here to do. And so, anyway, I feel like even the word grievance is probably not even a part of my vocabulary. There's a grace and gratitude in the loss, in the absence of physical void, but on a spiritual realm, I don't think I've ever felt them more present in my life, ever. Like physically, we all think because we're physical, we're present. But a lot of times we're physically in each other's space, but we're completely detached emotionally, right? Or energetically, or vibrationally, or whatever. And I think many people can say, yeah, I had both parents at home, but we're not always present, right? And I think it's getting harder. I think it's getting harder to be as present, because there's been so much density, and we're all trying to lighten the load. We're all trying to lighten the burdens that we've been carrying. And it requires kind of that solitude and that stillness and that aloneness. And I'm speaking for me. Like, I know that that's been huge for me. And so for me to retreat and be able to take space in a solitary way with my mom and dad in particular, and my grandparents and all those that have left before, and really be in honor and gratitude for their chosen path, for me, that's one of the greatest gifts that we can give each other. And as we can apply that and integrate that in the physical with all the power that we possibly can, with everything around us on a given day, great. I think that's ultimate opportunity as well. And there's still grace to be given to ourselves, because we're all trying to move through the density as the density is dismantling. And for some of us, not all of us, that are on the path of doing, deep spiritual work, or this is our journey, this is our called lifetime that we came in to really truly maneuver through this. And so we're dealing with different kinds of layers and healing, depths and things like that. I feel like everyone experiences that density to a different degree. Has zero idea of what I was to share today. I just knew I was going to share. And that's how I like to lead and share and offer and bring any channeling, any intuitive offering, because I work best in that organic space. I work best in that flow, fluid, feminine, like divine, artistic, feminine space. That's how my poetry comes through. It's all through channeling. It's all through, hearing and connecting in and strengthening that and listening for when the call is being brought forth. And so I hope to some degree, however this has brought an ounce of love, light, impact, inspiration, support, comfort, sacredness of being held in your own soul. I trust that. I trust. And my heart is walking right there with all of you amongst your own path, your own grievances, losses, beautiful gains, successes, dreams, desires. And I just felt led to bring a closure to this year, part of my own healing, part of my own offering, part of my own speaking in and letting the universe know I'm here. Continue to use me as a vessel to share, shepherd, and show whatever I'm able to support others as I, feel supported and desire support as any human, and, stay in that grounded space as we ascend, evolve, transcend, and, start anew, whether it's the new year or a new mindset or a new beginning of our life or, a new anything. The new is here, or upon us is the new earth. And consciousness is, becoming more and more heightened and up-leveling and upgrading. And so trust that. Trust that whatever's falling away on your path, as painful as that loss is, trust the timing, trust the gift in it, trust the guidance, trust yourself, trust your heart, trust the universe, trust your soul, and step in with this, with all of us, because we all need to hold a higher trust in these very uncertain, unknowing times. It's when we're truly being asked to practice what we preach and rise through the rumble and the reckoning of all that we have, been burning through as all Phoenix rising happens. And I send my love and blessings to you all, and know that you're not alone. And I thank you for sharing space with me here, and just wishing you a new blessed, year ahead. And I look forward to seeing what comes in creation and offering and calling in and receiving and releasing and sharing. And so just, would love to hear always, what resonates with you, where in alignment things may be, where you're struggling, what does that look like for your own journey, what do you need, what questions, are being begged of you to answer and to navigate, just kind of reimagine, I think is kind of more where we're all being called to. So all my love and light and blessings, and we'll talk to you soon.